Are you tired of other wizards casting spells at you day in and day out? Have a beholder that you'd like to poke in the eye? Well, boy, do I have a spell for you. Antimagic Field. One snap of your fingers and a pinch of powdered iron and boom! Inner sphere peace. I'm John, an adventure writer at dumbestdnd.com, and today we're looking at Antimagic Field, an 8th level spell from the School of Abjuration in D&D 5e. Available to Clerics and Wizards, Antimagic Field is a 1-hour concentration spell that makes magic fizzle, but only momentarily. Very similar to Antilife Shell, but it repels magic instead of life, unless you are a being that was summoned, in which case you're in trouble. When I think of Antimagic Field, I think of the episode of Futurama where Fry drinks 100 cups of coffee, and on the 100th cup, time slows, and he is untouchable by the fire around him. While Antimagic Field doesn't manipulate time, you really are invincible from magical effects, making it pretty powerful. With a 10-foot sphere around you, you can traipse through a dungeon without a magic care in the world for up to 1 hour. While the rules for the spell are insanely long, it is one of the most clear spells I've come across. It goes into each type of magic that might enter the field and describes exactly what happens when it comes in contact with the Antimagic Field itself. No way anyone can skirt around these rules. A good rule of thumb for what dissipates is to assess if it comes from a cantrip, spell slot, scroll, or is said to be of magical nature. If the answer to any of those questions is yes, it's not doing anything in that big old dome. We'll cover uses and history later on, but for now, let's take a look at rules as written. Buckle up, because there's a lot. A 10-foot radius invisible sphere of anti-magic surrounds you. Ah, yes, the classic 10-foot radius sphere. I wonder why so many of these are 10 feet. If you know, let me know, please. This area is divorced from the magical energy that suffuses the multiverse. Gotta feel bad for the kids here. Who gets custody of the magical energy this weekend? Flavor text, but it impresses upon you how critical this anti-magic is. It wrecks the very fabric of the weave, blocking out all of the energy around. Within the sphere, spells can't be cast, summoned creatures disappear, and even magic items become mundane. Suddenly, that magical sword that shouts puns when you swing it and does 1d6 psychic damage isn't as powerful, is it? The summoned creature aspect is also pretty incredible. Raw gets more clear on this shortly, but no summoned creature can exist inside of your bubble. Until the spell ends, the sphere moves with you, centered on you. Enjoy rolling around in your magical Zorb ball. Similar to Antilife Shell, you get it for 1 hour as long as you can concentrate. Spells and other magical effects, except those created by an artifact or a deity, are suppressed in the sphere and can't protrude into it. So a low-tier sorcerer casting Magic Missile will see those missiles fart out as they hit the sphere. Anyone using a Ganazar Scorcher will also be horribly surprised that the flames stop 10 feet from you. Important too, if you're holding an artifact like the Regalias of Might, you still get those magical benefits. Same would go for an artifact that gets rolled into the sphere, so watch out for anyone bowling at you. A slot expended to cast a suppressed spell is consumed. While an effect is suppressed, it doesn't function, but the time it spends suppressed counts against its duration. More on how this might happen later on, but remember, unless someone is metagaming, the monsters don't know that you've got this anti-magic field active. Say goodbye to those precious spell slots. Targeted effects. Spells and other magical effects such as Magic Missile and Charm Person that target a creature or an object in the sphere have no effect on that target. Magic Missile again, but if you as the caster become the target of a spell, no saves are needed, no general checks, you are straight up unaffected. Areas of magic. The area of another spell or magical effect such as Fireball can't extend into the sphere. If the sphere overlaps an area of magic, the part of the area that is covered by the sphere is suppressed. For example, the flames created by a wall of fire are suppressed within the sphere, creating a gap in the wall if the overlap is large enough. Watch the Pyromancer cry as its standard blast of fire disappears as it hits your field. Honestly, I feel like this is extremely clear already, so I'll leave it where it is. Spells. Any active spell or other magical effect on a creature or an object in the sphere is suppressed while the creature or object is in it. You have no power here. Psychic spells don't penetrate your brain. Moonbeam is moot, and someone wearing a Crown of Madness that enters the sphere or you make enter the sphere is back to normal. Magic items. The properties and powers of magic items are suppressed in the sphere. For example, a longsword +1 in the sphere functions as a non-magical longsword, unless that sword is also an artifact like the Sword of Kos. Generally speaking though, inside the sphere, all weapons automatically become non-magical physical damage. A magic weapon's properties and powers are suppressed if it is used against a target in the sphere or wielded by an attacker in the sphere. If a magic weapon or a piece of magic ammunition fully leaves the sphere, for example, if you fire a magic arrow or throw a magic spear at a target outside of the sphere, the magic of the item ceases to be suppressed as soon as it exits. So magic items thrown in lose their magic abilities. Magic items thrown out regain their magical effects. Seems pretty great to me. Magical travel. Teleportation and planar travel fail to work in the sphere, whether the sphere is the destination or the departure point for such magical travel. Now you're thinking with portals. But too bad, because it will not work inside of my anti-magic sphere. No coming or going here. A portal to another location, world, or plane of existence, as well as an opening to an extra dimensional space such as that created by the rope trick spell, temporarily closes while in the sphere. This very clearly captures the ruling for something like a bag of holding, handy haversack, or a portable hole. Those items will still exist, but the extra dimensional capabilities will be cut off while the sphere is active. If thrown out of the sphere, or if the spell ends, those items could again be used as normal. Creatures and objects. A creature or object summoned or created by magic temporarily winks out of existence in the sphere. Such creature instantly reappears once the space the creature occupied is no longer within the sphere. This is horrifying and awful for that creature. It's essentially self-imposed banishment if they enter the sphere. I'm not sure what the rules writers were thinking, but they were being kind on this day because the creature then instantly reappears once the sphere rolls along. Said a different way, no summoned or created creature can get within 10 feet of you. This to me means anything created with animate dead, as an example. Also, any creature bound through planar binding would also explode out of existence momentarily. One example of an exception is Artificer's Steel Companion. Dispel magic. Spells and magical effects such as Dispel Magic have no effect on the sphere. Likewise, the spheres are created by different anti-magic field spells, don't nullify each other. This is what catapults Antimagic Field into one of the best defensive spells in the Cleric and Wizards spellbook. Nothing other than melee can tear down this anti-magic wall. Now, that does mean ranged weapons can still blast through without issue, but if you're at an evil wizard convention, for example, Antimagic Field is basically granting you invulnerability. This isn't discussed often, but a quick note for DMs here. If you have a spellcasting baddie, they likely don't know that the Antimagic Field is up. The caster is not likely to verbally announce, "I'm casting an anti-magic sphere around myself," unless their verbal component game is trash. As the DM, it's easy to metagame and never cast another spell or send a summoned creature into the sphere while the duration continues, but personally I would try and come to that conclusion of magic not working around the caster by trial and error. With a sneer, Lord Loquat blasts Fireball at your wizard, surprised when it erupts around in a hemisphere, leaving your wizard completely unsinged. On the opposite side, as a player, you might want to consider carrying around at least one special dagger made of adamantine or silver, just in case you come across a spellcasting golem or creature who is immune to non-magic physical damage. Same with a demi-lich, coatl, or actually there are over 50 creatures with non-magical physical damage immunities, so maybe just hope your diabolical DM doesn't give any of them this 8th level spell. There are a lot of ways to use Antimagic Field, but I'm only going to give you 7 because there are so many different situations where this is beneficial. Close off a portal to any other plane and trap the transported creatures in the material plane. Prevent all rope trick shenanigans from happening. When surrounded by a gauntlet of magical traps, blow up your anti-magic bubble and traipse through without getting blasted. Remember, you can have allies within this bubble, so anytime your teammates are hit by a negative magical effect, they could walk into your personal space and be cured for the duration. If you're playing Oops All Mages, form a magical tank where you continue to walk through the dungeon at half to 1/3 speed while your allies pop out of the field, cast a non-concentration spell, then hop back into the field, rinse and repeat. Tired of your druid wild shaping into a bear and riding a unicycle? Heavens solve us, right? If they're within the anti-magic field, their wild shape will be suspended and they'll just be a standard druid riding a unicycle. A great combo I saw, if you're going to get to level 20, roll with 15 levels of War Magic Wizard, 5 of Champion Fighter, snag the Warcaster feat, cast this spell, then obliterate the opposing mage with Action Surge and improved criticals. What other uses can you think of? Let us know below. Now let's check out the storied past of Antimagic Field. Only available in 2nd, 3rd, and 5th edition, Antimagic Field has been pretty consistent about what it can do. In 2nd edition, this was called Antimagic Shell, similar to Antilife, Antiplant, etc., etc. The biggest difference was the shell hedged out magically summoned or created creatures, and if forced to enter the shell, the barrier would break, thus ending the spell. 2nd edition also had a great clarification saying it suppresses special attacks and innate abilities that function over a distance, including breath weapons, but not touch-delivered special attacks. Specific trumps general. 2nd edition even had a variation of this called Theondar's Permanent Antimagic Field, which could be cast on objects. Self in this case was not an object, so don't get cheeky. 3rd edition is where we first see the phrase wink out of existence, which was subbed in for the hedging out language. Thank goodness, because wink out of existence is much easier to adjudicate. 3rd edition also added the ability to get rid of the spell not by Dispel Magic, but by Mage's Disjunction, a 9th level spell that had the ability to disjoin magic back into its components, even those that were permanent, including artifacts. No wonder it's not in 5th edition. Finally, with 5th edition, we get to a host of rules where the rules writers were like, we don't want to leave anything to chance or guessing, so let's spell them all out. Final thoughts, Antimagic Field is an incredibly powerful spell. If you are generating a Nuclear Blaster Wizard build, you likely won't snag this spell since you can't cast additional spells while your field is up. But if you're a Control or Support Wizard, this spell is incredible. Top tier spell in my mind. Let us know what we missed in the comments below, and until next time, roll high and stay ridiculous. Thanks for watching.